A gorilla at a party. That's what I saw, Aries, when I felt the energy behind your cards. I saw a gorilla, and then I saw like balloons and a xylophone. It feels like a young person's party. So if now the energy, the card that we have on the board is the Hierophant, so you're supposed to act with decorum. You're supposed to act like the Hierophant. But some of you guys, maybe you're just dealing with somebody like this, acts like a gorilla around in a situation where they're supposed to, like, let's say you're around children, right? Like in a party for kids and you're acting like a gorilla. It's like acting exactly the wrong way for exactly the wrong place. That's the energy for your week. Maybe you are just like this because Aries is kind of like, I'm like that, you know? A lot of times I act inappropriately. And that's kind of the vibe, is maybe you're going to be called upon to be appropriate. Appropriateness is going to be something you're supposed to be doing this week. You might feel like you're like acting out like a gorilla, but the expectation is that you're going to act properly for the circumstance. And again, the circumstance is like, it's serious. Like, it's if you're around kids, right? People are pretty serious about that. You can't act like a gorilla around kids. Let's pull more cards. The Empress with the Page of Wands. The Empress with the Page of Wands is like a sense of grace, okay? With the way you move. Like imagine like being a gorilla and walking around and just ramming into people by accident, like oops. That is a possibility here. That's a possibility for this week. That's something you want to avoid, because the energy for your week is the opposite, where you are supposed to be acting with grace so that people look at the things that you do. Page of Wands is like your movement, is like how you act. So act with more grace. Or at least this isn't advice. I'm going to pull advice in a second. This is the expectation, okay? This is the expectation for this week. Whether that's going to happen or not, I don't know. Now, the World with the Five of Swords. The World with the Five of Swords is, again, the inappropriate place, where it's like if you're at a hospital, you probably shouldn't be playing loud music. Or better example, if you're at a library, you shouldn't be talking loud, or you shouldn't be playing music in a library, right? That's the World with the Five of Swords, is doing something you're not supposed to in a public setting, the world. Let's pull one more card. And being judged for it. So this is the message. If you act inappropriately this week, you're gonna be judged for it, and you could even be reprimanded for it, because judgment comes with consequences, okay? On the bottom, the devil. On the bottom is the devil, like creating problems for yourself by acting in the wrong place, acting the wrong way at the wrong place, maybe even at the wrong time, right? Underneath the devil, 10 of Cups. Yeah, you're supposed to, 10 of Cups is how you're supposed to act. It's again giving me the children vibe. Like if you're around kids, you're supposed to not swear. Man, do I always do that? And do I always have to catch myself? I have friends with kids and I'm frequently like, shit, like I always do it. That's one example. All right, let's pull oracle cards, find out more information, and then after that, we're gonna pull advice and see what you guys should be doing, or whatever comes out for advice. Any more information here for Aries? Okay, we got 3 cards. Okay, so number 1, and the Skull and Crossbones with Venus. Hold on, let me feel this. Because 1 is obviously you guys. Yeah, 1 is like you being you, you know, doing you. A little self-centered. That's the number 1. And with Venus, again, it's being self-centered, because with Venus, it's like you're focusing on yourself. You're not paying attention to your surroundings. And then the Skull and Crossbones is like, maybe you break stuff, you know? Skull and Crossbones is when you act like a gorilla at a children's party, you're popping balloons, you're hurting children because you just knocked one over. Let's see what else there is here. Wow, the bed with the hammer. The bed with the hammer is definitely giving me another call back to that grace thing, right? Movement with grace. First of all, slow down. Slow down. As an Aries, we tend to rush. I talk fast, I move fast, I do everything fast. That's how we do things, Aries. But this is saying go slow. Slow down. Because when you slow down, you do things with more grace, with more care, with more heed. That's all the hammer with the bed here. Let's pull one more card. Pisces. Pisces is you not realizing what you're doing, not realizing you're being an oaf, or people are judging you for acting inappropriately when you're acting inappropriately. That's you like not being tuned in. It's not having self-awareness. So again, I feel like we're about to have advice where it's like you might want to be aware and have self-awareness for when maybe you're acting inappropriately, right? Again, I think it's just an Aries thing. Okay, let's pull advice. See what we get for advice for you guys. Anything else for advice for anything for advice for Aries? What can we get for advice? What should Aries be doing, focused, aware of? What should Aries, what's the best strategy for not being a gorilla? Or maybe you're dealing with a gorilla, right? What's the best strategy? That was too many. Hold on. That was too many. Let me give it a fresh shuffle here. Let's see. Any advice? Any advice? There we go. There we go. Okay. So we've got 10 of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands. Well, the 10 of Pentacles is the party. The 10 of Pentacles is the actual place that you're going to, that we're talking about here. The place like the hospital, the place like the children's party, right? The library. It's the place where you can act inappropriately. Well, the Queen of Wands is to kind of get a handle, check yourself. That's the Queen of Wands. It's like check yourself before you wreck yourself, obviously, when you go into these places. It's like that's when you really need to kind of pay attention. It's not all the time. You don't need to act proper all the time when you're, just at home by yourself, like obviously, or in your car. It's just when you go to these places, you have to check yourself. Let's see. 7 of Pentacles. Oh, shit. 7 of Pentacles, the Moon, and the Ace of Swords. That's on the regular, because this is a habit. This is a habit of yours. This is a habit of this person's. To act like a blundering gorilla and act inappropriately and then be judged for it, yada yada. It's because the Moon is your habits. And it's also something like you do that you might not even realize because your habits are kind of like that, right? It's in the 7 of Pentacles, it's just something that this person does normally, They do this all the time. The only thing is, Ace of Swords, they don't pay attention to it. It's time to pay attention to it, Ace of Swords. It's time to check yourself, Queen of Wands. All right, so let's pull just some more cards from the Oracle, and we're going to close this out. So any last advice for Aries? Any last advice for Aries? I'm definitely getting some useful advice for myself here. Okay. Holy shit. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. That's literally what the cards are saying. 8, check yourself. 8 is a boundary. It is kind of like containment. 8 is a number for containment. So that's checking yourself. That's hold it. Hold up. Pay attention. Don't act inappropriately before the volcano. Wrecking yourself. And the house is interesting. The house really is about your identity. The reason you have to check yourself is because you do tend to be, Aries tends to be volcanic energy. It just is. It's part of who you are. And that's why you actually have to hold yourself back. It's part of who you are. Volcano, part of who you are, Aries. Let's see. I know all about that. A lot of experience with volcano energy, Aries energy. And then the nut with the cup here is really to prioritize people's feelings. Ugh, I know. Prioritize people's feelings. That's the nut with the cup. Because it's how you have a tendency as an Aries to be explosive and volcanic. You got to contain that you got to contain the volcano. For the sake of, I don't know, living on this planet with other people that don't want to just have fire raining down on them at all times. It's hard to be an Aries. We are like that. So that's your advice, guys. I hope it helps. I know it doesn't. Sometimes it's not just hearing it. You gotta live the advice, and it takes years. It's taken me years to kind of temper myself. But anyway, I wish you guys luck with that. That is your reading, Aries. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, follow the channel if you haven't already, so you can see more of these videos. And also check out Patreon. I've got some cool videos over there. Links are below. I'll see you guys next time.